Corporate emails suck. We can make them suck less. Or put more politically correct, how to write more effective emails. Hi, my name is Tim Slate, or Li Yuntong if we're in China. And in this video, we will explore ways to make the emails that we write every day be more effective. Now, you may be thinking, wait a minute, if emails suck, then why bother trying to write better ones? Why not just ditch emails altogether? And that's a good question. Okay, emails don't suck. Emails are just tools, and tools in and unto themselves don't suck. Well, except for vacuum cleaners, those obviously suck. And I guess suction cups. And look, anyway, my point is, email is just a tool. How the tool is used determines whether it's good or bad. The problem is that despite how ubiquitous emails are, no one ever teaches us how to write effective emails. My hope is that by having more people write effective emails, the email tool can become an incredibly positive one. With that clarification behind us, let's continue with our regularly scheduled video. Writing emails is easy. Writing emails that get read is hard. Writing effective emails, well, that feels impossible. By the way, it's not. My hope is that by the end of this video, you'll have a good set of techniques for investing a little more time on your emails up front, saving yourself and the email community at large time and effort in the long run. Writing emails is easy. I'd say it's too easy. Partially fill in the to address, and it will automatically fill in for you, maybe even correctly. Put in a brief subject, write stream of consciousness for a few lines, and click send, hoping, of course, that the spell check catches any typos, and also hoping that the receiver will read the email, which brings us to our next point. Writing emails that get read is hard. In the corporate world, it's not uncommon for someone to get 100 or more emails every day. People not only have emails sent to them, but they also receive emails for distribution lists they are in. They have emails they are CC'd on, and there are emails that are sent as nothing more than cover your anatomy for the sender. By default, your audience does not want to read your emails. You need to quickly convince them to change their mind. You have about 10 words to get their engagement. Choose those words wisely. They have a day job they are trying to get done. Emails are an annoyance to them. They are noise and interference to their day job. They do not see emails as helping them. They see them as a necessary evil at best. And be warned, even if you catch their attention in the first 10 words and they keep reading, you still need to maintain their attention. You need to keep them engaged. They still have better things to do than to read your email. Writing effective emails feels impossible, but it isn't. First and foremost, keep in mind that the goal of any email is to be effective. Just sending an email is not achieving this goal. Just having the email read is also not achieving this goal. Okay, then what does it even mean for an email to be effective? Well, in short, if you are looking for action to be taken, it means the action is taken, and it is taken in the manner you intend. If you are looking for information to be conveyed, it means that both the feelings and the information have been copied from your mind into their mind. Is what I think I understand from what I think I heard you say the same as what you think you meant for me to understand? If the answer is yes, then you have achieved your goal. So now that we understand all that, well, sort of at least, why do you care? Why spend more time writing an effective email when you yourself are busy and just want to get the email done and over with? First, sending ineffective emails is a waste of your time, and it's a waste of their time. If you're looking for action from an email, you'll have a lot of back and forth with the audience for clarification, corrections, and redirections when they go down the wrong paths. You can write more effective emails. It is an achievable goal, and the investment up front will save you time, effort, and aggravation later on. Let's finally get to the meat of this video, how to improve the effectiveness of your emails. The overriding theme of all that is to follow is make it easy for your audience to absorb your email. Make them spend as little time and effort as possible. The first technique is to identify your audience. To your audience. Huh? Now, the first rule of writing is to know your audience. We've all heard that countless times. What I'm talking about here, though, is making it clear to the people receiving your email whose attention you are looking to get. Specifically, make sure your audience is in the to line, not the CC line. If I receive an email with me in the CC line, I'm going to assume that it's just for your information, FYI, that the email is not specifically for me. In fact, sometimes I have had filters set up to put all emails I'm CC'd on into a separate folder. Sometimes never to be seen again. And if you're responding to an email thread, check the to and CC lines and make sure the right people are in each. Maybe someone was CC'd as informational, but now there is a question or feedback for that person. Likewise, if someone was on the to line, but now they're being included as FYI only, move them to the CC line. Whether you are writing an email anew or replying to or forwarding another email, only include those who need to be included. Help reduce email pollution by including only the relevant folks on the email. When replying, remove anyone who doesn't need the reply. Just because the previous sender included 154 recipients does not mean that all of them care or should care. The second technique is to tune the subject of your email to be clear and concise. Some people have their email set up so they only see the first few words of the subject line unless they select it. Make those first words count. And don't get hung up on proper English. A short phrase is fine. It's even better than a full wordy sentence. Here's a few examples of bad subject lines and some better alternatives. Tying an emotional hook is great if you can. Need help, production issue, and exciting things can all induce different but useful emotional hooks that can increase the odds of the email being read. One might think urgent, read now, in all caps no less, would be an emotional hook. It's not. The problem is twofold. First, people often don't like being yelled at, which is inferred by capitalization. Second, and more importantly, those words add nothing to the subject information. Starting with production issue and not needing capitalization will make it clear that there's urgency and why there's urgency. As for cost analysis, well, I'm just not creative enough to find an emotional hook for that, but perhaps you can. A final note on subject lines. They can be changed when replying to or forwarding an email thread. If the subject simply wasn't good before, or the subject has changed, then please modify it. The third technique is making sure to write for your audience, not for you. Make it easy for them to digest the email, and you will have much greater success. Some examples are: include information that you want your audience to absorb in the email body instead of an attachment. An attachment is an additional effort to open and is not absorbed by the reader right away. Alternatively, include it both in the body and as an attachment. Sometimes this is unrealistic, such as when the information is in a PowerPoint or a 100,000-line Excel spreadsheet. In those cases, make sure to clearly summarize the relevant information in the attachment. This includes identifying exactly where the information is. Here's an example of a good and a bad reference to the attachments. Again, help the reader be successful in absorbing your email. Don't use capitalization for emphasis. People don't like it. It feels like they're being yelled at. If you feel this kind of emphasis is needed, rewrite your email. The emphasis should follow naturally by the message. If you need to force it through capitalization, then there may be other issues with your email to address. 3-letter acronyms, or 2-letter or 4-letter, or are a fast track to obfuscation. If you're certain that every person knows the acronym you're using, then I agree that defining it in the email is overkill. But only skip this if you know each person in the email, the to line and the CC line, and you know each of them have a clear understanding of what the acronym means. When in doubt, define it. It will help you and them in the long run. These acronyms should be defined in line when used, just like this line does it. Once you've defined the acronym, feel free to keep using it through the rest of your email without definition. Never say "see below" when you're replying to or forwarding an email thread, with perhaps the exception of answering a series of questions in the thread, in which case something like "see my response in red below" is okay. Otherwise, restate, copy, or summarize what that "see below" is trying to do. This isn't a treasure hunt game. Remember, we want the audience to process this email as easily and quickly as possible before their attention is drawn elsewhere. Sending them into the bowels of a 30-deep email thread hunting for some comment won't bode well. The fourth technique is keeping the body of your email short. Sure, some people like reading long novels like War and Peace or Atlas Shrugged, but that's for pleasure. That's for relaxation and temporary escape. While working, they want to escape the email. After a brief greeting, such as "Hello, Tim," assuming the reader's name is Tim, start with why you're sending the email. What is the goal you are trying to achieve? Is it to get assistance? Is it to give a project status update? Here's an example of a bad start to an email and a good start. In the bad start, the sender rambles on about the history of something. After almost 100 words, I still have no clue why I might care about this email. The good start makes it pretty clear my help is sought, and there's urgency, at least to the sender. Next, tell the person why they might care. If it's an action, why are you seeking action from them? If it's information, why are you sending them this information? Why do they want or need to continue to be engaged with this email? Your wanting them to be engaged just ain't gonna cut it. Here is a continuation of the bad versus good emails. In our first good sentence, we indicated that we need this person's help. Now we succinctly state why we are reaching out specifically to them. We need testing assistance from their team. Once we have gotten past those first few very brief items, we can go into more details. But even here, we want to keep it short. We want to make it easy for the reader to absorb the email. One way to do this is to write as if you were writing for a 6th grader. This isn't to treat the reader as dumb. It's to improve the speed of the reader. Emails are not a place to show how vast your vocabulary is. If someone has to look up a word or multiple words, you have lost them. Even if they don't, high-level words simply slow reading. Vocabulary is just one way to improve the speed of the reader. Short sentences and short paragraphs help show clearly when one idea ends and another begins. Blank lines between paragraphs or even sentences helps too. Breaking out a 5-line paragraph will make it easier and faster to read. Using bullet points instead of sentences can better show information relationship, the relative importance of information, and reduce the overall word count. Here's another bad versus good example, using short sentences and bullet points to get across the same idea in a shorter read time. Another way to shorten your email body is by putting supporting information as an attachment. But wait, I said earlier to include information and not use attachments. What gives? The key word here is supporting. Supporting information may be a section of an error code manual that gives a lot of details about the error. In the body, you give the information the audience needs, short and sweet. But you can include the long and bitter details as an attachment for them to peruse if they're interested, or if they get insomnia. The fifth technique applies to when you reply to or forward an email. In these instances, I encourage you to review the email thread for parts that can be deleted. I have seen many emails that go on for many pages with no value add. A couple specific ideas are: replace long to or CC lines with a simple delete comment. I've seen emails where the to line was twice the size of the email otherwise. This makes it much harder to see what information may be relevant lower in the email thread. Additionally, take a brief scan of the email and see if you can remove information. As noted previously, we don't want our readers to have to go on a treasure hunt through the email. Summarize the information of value or otherwise move it towards the top of the email and just delete the rest. One word of caution here: be careful about deleting things such as do not fool words and other such wordings often found at the end of corporate emails. And now for the final 6th technique. Don't email. Just pick up the damn phone and call them. Smartphones have phone in their name for a reason. Phone conversations are so much more effective. usually, than emails. Even so, do keep in mind all the items discussed above. They apply to phone conversations as well. To summarize, identify your audience to your audience. Write a clear, concise subject line. Write for your audience, not for you. Make success for the reader, and hence yourself, as easy as possible. Keep the email body short. When they open it, they know they don't need to read and understand the Odyssey. Trim or delete the earlier emails in the email thread when replying or forwarding emails. And remember, emails aren't the only way to reach out. Phones still work. Thank you for your time. I hope you found this helpful.